have an incredible show for you today. When you think about some of the great figures of human rights worldwide, two names will right away come to mind: Elie Wiesel and Kerry Kennedy. Elie Wiesel has written nearly 57 books, the landmark book being called Night, about his experiences at the Holocaust and as being a prisoner in a concentration camp. He's been a Nobel Peace Prize winner, won several other multiple awards. He's been institution in here in the United States. He himself is. He was one of the chairman of the Holocaust Commission and had a great deal in creating, a great part in creating the Holocaust Museum in Washington. Kerry Kennedy is Robert Kennedy's daughter, has traveled around the world working on human rights campaigns, has written about it. She is interesting because the two of them, not together but separately, hang with the Dalai Lama, with Desmond Tutu, and figures like that. I mean, these people are two of the finest human rights advocates that we have alive today in our planet. Now, after having said that, we're going to go lighten up the show a little bit because we have actually an author who lives here in Las Vegas, Deborah Kuntz, who's written an incredibly interesting, funny, light, and provocative book about Las Vegas, and we'll talk to her. But we'll be right back with after we do this interview with Elie Wiesel, and we talk to Kerry Kennedy. Thank you. I'm honored to have Mr. Elie Wiesel here.
Thank you.
Of all the things you've done in your life has been mixed with blessings and a lot of adversity, having been brought to captured when you were 15 years old and brought to various concentration camps for a number of years. After the loss of your mother, your father in the Holocaust, then you went to an orphanage. After that, you had a terrible car accident, in a wheelchair for a year, been kidnapped. Unfortunate with Bernie Madoff, lost a lifetime of savings. How do you deal? What is the key in dealing with that type of adversity in a lifetime?
Don't compare, after all. The worst was during the war, what we so poorly called the Holocaust. But that was the era when absolute evil had absolute power. But then how you deal with adversity, it's very simple. You continue. You just don't allow the enemy to govern your life. And that's what later on I try to do with my own life. Whenever something happens, goes bad, and of course it happened, I said, all right, I'm not allowing either destiny or the enemy to do with my life what I want it to be.
Which is similar, I guess, to what Viktor Frankl had written about as well.
He wrote about the meaning, the quest for meaning.
Yes. What is the thing that you're most proud of in your life?
Oh, proud is difficult to say. I wouldn't have written anything else had I not written Night. But the main thing is when I wrote a book in '65, The Jews of Silence, about Soviet Jewry. And that I am proud because I think I helped awaken the American community and the community all over the world to the plight of Soviet Jewry and then to the courage of Soviet Jewry to face a dictatorship and claim kinship with their people, with their history, with their destiny. That makes me feel good. Today you have 1 million former Soviet Jews in Israel. I think almost 1 million in America. That is good to know.
This is a side note. I was lucky enough at one time, I was on the first LL airplane from Moscow to Tel Aviv, a commercial airplane when they brought Soviet Jews into Israel in the 80s, I believe.
70s.
70s, that was a long time ago. And what most are you disappointed about?
Usually indifference. When I realize that there are some people who remain indifferent and I cannot shake them up, I cannot wake them up, and I cannot move them to action, to do something for people who need them, who need all of us, then I am disappointed.
You recently took out an ad in the New York Times regarding Jerusalem, and so What is your feeling about what has to happen in Jerusalem?
Oh, but I really believe that's why I wrote the statement in the New York Times. What I feel is there must be peace already between Israel and the Palestinians. The time has come. It's enough. And I think there will be two states. 4 prime ministers in Israel came out for a two-state solution. So let there be a beginning, and the beginning must be simple issues, everyday issues that are soluble. If they start with Jerusalem, they can move, it's finished, because this is the most complex, the most painful, and the most dramatic problem that faces Israel and the other side. So better wait, better be a generation of peace between Israel and the Palestinians. And then they will be ripe and mature to tackle Jerusalem.
As the Bible said, let a generation pass, right?
A generation, yes.
You talked today about suicide terrorism being made a crime against humanity. What do you mean by that?
Simply to say that to come out with the statement of the United Nations and that it must be approved by parliaments in the world, that anyone who plans to commit a crime and commit suicide in order to make the crime more cruel should be actually indicted for crimes against humanity. It's very simple, and therefore any accomplice will have to answer these charges. It's a very serious charge. I think it can work, it could work, and it must work. Otherwise, we are all in trouble and in danger.
What's next for Elie Wiesel?
More teaching and more writing.
And you teach in Boston?
I teach at Boston University.
What class do you teach?
I belong to the Department of Philosophy, Religious Studies. I'm a chair in the humanities. And I never give the same course twice, so always. But what they have in common is moral philosophy.
The book was called Night. Sold what, 30 million?
No,
12 million? What was
10 million.
10 million.
What's
a million here or there, right? And translated in 30 different languages. And as I heard before, it started out very, very slow. It took 18 months to sell, 1,000 copies or so. And now we're up to 10 million or so. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Elie Wiesel.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you very much.